Welcome back to the Here in the Turnbuckle podcast. Monday Night Raw in the books. Lots actually went down on Raw this week. We've had another monster match made for Saturday night's main event in a few weeks' time, and that could be the biggest Saturday night's main event WWE done. There's only two matches announced, but the magnitude of those two matches are immense, absolutely immense. We have to have a look at it, without a doubt. It is going to be a huge, huge Saturday night's main event, but we're not there yet, are we? Of course we're not. We've got to get to Raw. Raw kicks off with La Primavera, Stephanie Becker, and she got called out Liv Morgan. Of course, when you call out Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, Raquel Rodriguez comes out as well, and it basically ends up with Stephanie getting, well, pretty much triple teamed in a lot of ways. That brought out the man Becky Lynch, who's got her eyes set on the gold as well. Um, well, the women's championships, or the women's world championships, and I say former women's intercontinental champion, of course. They battle away. They break up the free. They get rid of the free. There was a bit in there where Becky goes to hit Raquel. I think she moves out of the way. She collides with Stephanie Vaquer. They clear house, and then Vaquer and Lynch get in each other's faces about what just transpired. So, you know, excuse me, that is what I was looking for at the start of this. The women are showcasing. They're getting this great promo slash brawl to kick off Raw. The only thing, like, I'm a little bit disappointed with is there's no kind of follow up in terms of a match between any of these on Raw. Raw's really centered around the bloodline, shocker, and the champion, the tournament to go for whoever wins goes against Roman Reigns at on the Mexico Raw, I believe. Anyway, really solid opening part to Raw, thoroughly enjoyable as well. So kudos to that. To be honest, it was one of the better Raws actually. This whole Raw show was one of the better ones. That we've seen in a while, to be honest. Anyway, and from an in-ring action standpoint, was really really good as well. Which brings me to that very tournament that I was talking about, the tournament where it involves wrestlers from Triple R going in there. No, it wasn't. I looked too far down my notes. The opening contest on Raw was Jevon Evans against J.D. McDonough. These two are so underutilized in the ring. They're just incredible workers, both of them. JD McDonough, especially, we have not been able to really see what that guy can do because he can do a lot in there and he should be getting showcased more, in my opinion. With that being said, Jevon Evans is always exciting. We know what we're going to get with Jevon Evans in there, and the OG cutter was enough to get the job done. There was a lot of interference from Dom Mysterio in there as well, and also at the end of this match, once again interference. Well, once again an attack on Jevon Evans from Big Cass. He attacks him, lays him out. Jevon Evans gets back on the mic and says, "Is that all you got?" He hits Cass with a dive. Then Dom gets involved again, and again Jevon Evans ends up getting a beating from Big Cass. Is this, we said this, I was talking about this with Bobby yesterday on the week review, and I kind of said, is this the right way to use Big Cass? Is Big, we all thought he was coming in with Enzo. That turned out not to be the case, unfortunately. Um, and I just thought that it's missing something with him. He's doing a great job. Don't get me wrong. He's coming in. He's decimating Javon. But what direction are we going in here with Big Cass? Just seem to think that, is there a direction that he's going in? This is the problem that we've got, and I don't know. I really am not sure where we kind of stand with Big Cass at the moment. Like, maybe we're still waiting. Maybe Enzo is coming. Maybe it's later. Maybe he's not. I don't know. It's just a bit of a weird and frustrating one, to be honest with you, because I feel that there's something there with Big Cass, but he's never kind of without being disrespectful to him, he's never kind of done it on his own. And I feel as if we're kind of waiting for something to happen. Whether that will happen or not is another thing. But nevertheless, an enemy in Jevon Evans right now for Big Cass. Corey Graves doing his best to only talk when Jevon was attacking Big Cass. And if you know, you know. If you don't, find out. Um, but there you go. Right. Now we get on to the Triple R number one contenders match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Winner takes on Roman Reigns. Ray Phoenix, El Fiscal. I've got to be honest, I didn't know a lot about El Fiscal. I know obviously a lot about Ray Phoenix, but not so much about El Fiscal. Um, I thought he done well, Fiscal in this. There was a lot of high impact offense, and this is what you're going to kind of get from this Triple R tournament. It's going to prove to be an interesting match for Roman, whoever he gets in this. Money's on Penta, to be honest with you. But of course, it's going to be one, and it'll be one of those ones where Penta comes ever so close, but Roman may hit a jumping spear or something to catch him midair, something along those lines. Kind of writes itself, right? But anyway, sort of going off of the beaten track there. I felt as if the only thing about this one is the winner was kind of obvious, and he did. Ray Phoenix gets the job done with the Mexican Muscle Buster in this. Again, it was a fast pace. It was what you would have expected for a Triple R match. Very fast paced, very high flying, exciting movements in there. And again, Fisco done okay. Um, I just felt that, yeah, it was a little too predictable. And I think as we go along in this tournament, to forgive me, I can't remember the brackets off the top of my head. I believe that it could end up being a Penta Ray final, Ray Phoenix that is final. If I'm right, I know Dom Mysterio's not in the tournament, which was quite a surprise, considering how over he is in Triple A. Grande Americano also isn't in the tournament, which was quite a surprise to me anyway. We had the whole bloodline bit at the back with Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, and Solo, and the Usos were taking the mick with the pew pews on Solo because he's been given to Roman Reigns a bit later on tonight. So that was quite a funny one to see the backstage skit with those three. But we'll talk about that obviously in a minute. Now, more women's action say women's action, not more women's action, women's action on Raw. So Ruka, Lyra Valkyria. Obviously, Lyra gave her and Io a warning last week on Raw. And this is another one for Sol Ruka. Again, it was solid. It was a solid match between the two. I did enjoy most of it. Lyra Valkyria in control for the majority of this match, I will say. Ruka does count a long dart into a DDT, and Lyra Valkyria was kind of in the corner, and Sol Ruka surprised her with the Soul Snatcher to pick up the victory. And I've got to say, one of the things that kind of not confused me about this was they kind of both needed a win. Sol Ruka coming off the back of losing the Intercontinental Championship. Um, she's coming off the back of a little bit of negative feedback, well, especially from people online, not saying feedback in WWE, lots of maybe little mistakes here and there creeping in to her game. So she needed a win. Lyra Valkyria's only just changed character. She absolutely decimated Bayley a couple of weeks ago. Don't know if we're going to see Bayley again in WWE. I guess we're going to have to wait to see if that ever happens. But again, needed the win to kind of cement herself as this new character, new persona. Didn't quite work, which it's a bit of a surprise. Could they have done a DQ here? I don't recall. I don't think on Raw this week we did get a DQ. I think they were all clean victories, which was fairly impressive. You normally get the odd DQ in there, don't you? Which is surprising, shall we say the least. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure. But on the other stretch of this, Soruka does need to be beating the high profile. It does need those high profile victories. Well, so it was kind of like it was going to be damaging to whoever lost. They both needed to win in this one, my opinion, anyway. So, look, it is what it is. Sol Ruka picks up the victory. We'll see what happens. Maybe she's going to make Lara more crazy. Perhaps. Maybe that's how they're going to go with it. I don't know. But we'll see. Now, this is the bit that's interesting. So, Braun Breaker, Obafemi they've been at war for a while now. Braun Breaker's the future. Brock Lesnar called Obafemi the future, and kind of Braun's just like, well, who is the future? Braun called out Obafemi. Paul Heyman comes out, tells him, not to call him out. They did. fans are still well into Oba Femi. I did find it funny when Breaker got into Heyman's face and was like, "Tell me who the future is," and kind of it was like, and Femi comes out with, "You're asking a stupid question. Everybody knows who it is. Even Brock Lesnar knows who it is." Now these two go to start to get into an altercation. Paul Heyman breaks it up and says, "No, no, 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 no." Kind of a bit of a knock at AEW. He's like, we don't give away this on free TV or, just give it away for the sake of it. It's going down Saturday night's main event in a couple of weeks' time in Atlanta, Georgia. Braun Breaker's hometown, by the way, as well. Breaker's home turf. Big WCW territory, obviously. Lots of WCW stuff coming out. Cody Rhodes, Randy Orton is going down at Saturday night's main event. So you're looking at two matches there that are blockbuster, really. They would grace main events of your bigger pay-per-views, and then Saturday night's main event's just a show, isn't it? It's one of those. So it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one where they're putting it. It's also going to be interesting where Paul Heyman's allegiances lie. Um, in this, is this the bit that he sides with Obafemi? Does Obafemi even need Paul Heyman at this point? Or does he stick with Braun Breaker for the time being? And maybe everyone's expecting him to align with Oba, so he signs with Braun. I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. But I'm very intrigued with Saturday night's main event. That's something that I'm really looking forward to. I think it's September the 6th, I want to say. It's going to be an interesting one. That is for certain. I am very much looking forward to it. So, to be honest, I haven't really looked forward to Saturday night's main event really at all. In a lot of cases, I think there's been the odd one where they've got a really big card, but this one on those two matches alone, they've already sold me, and I'm really looking forward to watching the Saturday night's main event in a couple of weeks. Right, we move back to that number one contenders tournament now. And Dragon Lee versus El Hido de Dr. Wagner Jr., who Bobby was very, very passionate about on This Week in Wrestling, telling us how good this was going to be. And it really was fun. This was really, really fun. I mean, Wagner Jr. lands his brilliant running knee at the start of this. I really, and then they hit a few other strikes. There's a lot of great action in this match between the two. My only disappointment, I think, and this isn't a knock at WWE, but my only disappointment as such with it is that the um, the winner seems to be all obvious. They seem to be going for that same WWE, the OG WWE win. That you're the ones that are going to win it. The Triple R wrestlers. But what this tournament was really about was a Triple R wrestlers, and then none of them are winning. None of them are actually winning in this tournament. It's all the same people. It's all the WWE guys that are winning it, and there's no difference here. The OD from Dragon Lee picks up the victory in this. It is hard to invest in the tournament because for that simple reason, like when they're all winning from the WWE roster and no one from the Triple R roster is winning it, it's kind of like a little bit pointless because you're like, well, what's going on? Like, why aren't we getting the actual winners? Why aren't we getting someone from Triple R? It would have been great to give someone a Triple R. I'm not even talking El Grande Americano. I'm not talking Dom Mysterio. I'm talking about a Triple R wrestler getting the opportunity to face Roman Reigns. It's not going to happen at all, but it's a shame. I do apologize if you're going to hear some background noise. My washing machine is taking off. I'm not in the kitchen, but I've got the door open. Normally, I don't have the door open. It is early in the morning. It's 7 o'clock. So just apologies to any neighbors that are waking up as well. But going back to this, it's just a real shame that we're not showcasing the Triple R wrestlers at this stage. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens at the rest of the tournament. Now, the main match on Raw, which was before the main segment to end, was the Intercontinental Championship match between Chad Gable, Rey Mysterio. I don't need to say anything on this because you know what I feel about Chad Gable, and I will let you guys into a little secret. I'm starting to dig Chad Gable's theme song. You remember a couple of weeks ago, I was sitting there going, I absolutely hate it. What the hell are they doing? it's beginning to I don't know what the word is. It's beginning to dawn on me. It's beginning to gel. It's beginning to, I'm beginning to get a little bit catchy by it. I shouldn't do because it just sounds like a Baywatch theme, and he should come out on it with a surfboard. And well, actually, don't say that because WWE probably would bring him out in a surfboard if they gave him a chance. But this was brilliant. This was absolutely brilliant. There was an avalanche angle slam in this from Gable. I mean, Rey Mysterio, well, the way he wrestled this one, he could wrestle for 10 years. It is absolutely brilliant. And this match was just really good. I mean, this could have semi-main evented a Money in the Bank or I was going to say Unforgiven. I haven't done Unforgiven in years, but you get my point. If you look at a B pay-per-view, this could, I mean, to be fair, this could have even gone onto a WrestleMania card and you wouldn't have been disappointed. That's how good the match was. No surprise with the finish. I mean, Chad Gable did say to Rey Mysterio he wanted to give him a shot at the championship. So, we kind of knew that Chad was going to get that win because, yeah, and again, his whole thing was he's never beaten a cruiserweight up until he beat Penta. So we went through and we've now gone through those motions with Chad Gable, and he wins that. He retains, sorry, the World Heavyweight Championship. Crispness, absolute crisp. There was nothing about this match I didn't like. Was tremendous, absolutely tremendous. So well done to both of those men. Main segment on Raw, and of course, this was Solo being gifted or being sent back to Roman Reigns, and Roman does milk that crowd like it felt like we only had about 10 minutes left. It felt like we had an hour by the way he was going. Uh, Reigns basically yelled at the Usos to bring Solo Sikoa. He does, there was a video package played recounting all of Solo's bits and pieces. The crowd loved it. Roman says funny, but he wants to know why Solo thinks it's funny. Reigns steps on his glasses. Fatu then super kicks Solo, puts Solo in the Tongan death grip. Reigns says that's enough and announces that Jimmy and Jay are his captains, and they presented them with a black Ula Fala or Ufalafa if you're LA Knight, much to a bit of Jacob Fatu's annoyance. LA Knight character now then comes out to ring. He tries to get involved. He takes out Jimmy and Jay. Fatu then attacks Knight. He goes to carry on. Roman says, "No, I've got this." Superman punch. And then they all hold LA Knight in place on the floor. And Reigns wants to make sure that Solo gives him the Samoan spike. Solo looks at LA Knight, says, "I'm sorry," does his signature pose, but gives the Samoan spike to Roman Reigns, who sells it like his rent is due. He's gasping for breath. They take out the Usos in this as well. And Jimmy eats a BFT. And then Knight then drops Roman Reigns with a BFT as well. They do a fist bump. Fatu at this point. Now, during that point, Jacob Fatu does not move. He doesn't move a muscle during that part, which I thought was fantastic. Between LA Knight and sorry, with Jacob Fatu, because he was told by Roman, he's had enough. That's it. That stay out of the way. So he did. So where does that leave Jacob Fatu? Where does that leave the bloodline? Is this rinse and repeat? Yes, but it's still good. I still enjoyed it. I thought it was great. It was a good ending to Raw. Solid Raw this week. Lots of stuff going down. We've got a bit of time because we've got a Saturday night's main event. The Money in the Bank isn't until October, so we're going to be kind of been going in and out of feuds, I think, for the next month or so. But really good Raw. Solid Raw this week. Enjoyed the match quality was there, albeit a little bit predictable. Great beginning with Liv and the women and Becky and Stephanie. Great end with the bloodline. All in all, solid Raw. Right, coming up on the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, Richard Adonis joins us a bit later on today to talk all things NWA. Also, a bit later on today, I'll be talking to the former national champion of the NWA, Mike Mondo, who will rejoin us. Not sure the type of mood Mondo's going to be in at this point, but nevertheless, we'll be talking to him a bit later on as well. TNA exclusive with Mr. Elegance comes out this Thursday. NWA Power review will be out tomorrow. AEW review will be out Thursday. TNA review will be out Friday. And then we head to lockdown in Chi-Town this coming Sunday, as TNA Wrestling crosses that line again. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you a bit later on with Richard Adonis. But until then, everybody, it's HTT Buckle everywhere. Stay safe and goodbye.